Hello everyone, I'm Psychotic, that's also my screen name. This video covers the coin per material value for base materials as well as the items to craft to achieve the maximum values. If you want the full math breakdown of how I came to these numbers, the link to that video is in the description below. Now, remember, these videos only relate to items to sell, not items for use. Quality of life items are always going to be worth crafting because they make your life easier. If you learn anything useful today or have a good time, please don't be afraid to drop a like. If you're feeling friendly, maybe go ahead and subscribe, but either way, let's go ahead and get into it. Now for materials, sticks, each stick that you have is worth 3 coins apiece, provided you are making either ladles if you don't have a market. Ladles are going to be your best bet because they're light, or small baskets if you have a market and have them sold through the market, because they are exactly the same. They are 3 coins per stick, but the small baskets are heavier, but they use 5 sticks at a time, so you will be using less labor in your market, making them more efficient than the ladles, provided you're using a market. As far as stones go, the most profitable use of stones we discovered was in fact stone knives. Everybody is right on that one. So your stones are actually worth 12.5 apiece, coins per stone. Logs are worth 60 coins per piece if you turn them into planks and then wood vials. So logs are worth 60 coins a piece. Clay is worth 20 coins per clay, and that is if you make clay vials out of it. That is the most efficient use of your clay for coin outcome. Bronze is worth 110 coins per bronze bar, and that is per bronze shearing scissors. They are just slightly better than the knives and the hammers. So bronze shearing scissors are your bronze seller, and they are worth 110 coins per bronze bar. Copper bars are worth 53.5 each, and they are for copper knives. Copper knives are going to be your most efficient use of copper, and 53.5 per copper bar. Leather is worth 12.5, and your most efficient sale for leather is simple shoes. So you want to make sure to sell simple shoes. Fur, your most effective use of fur is going to be Fur Capelets, and that makes fur worth 7 coins apiece. So seeing as fur and leather come from the same place, I would actually say that it's probably best not to have your hunters gather fur and just have them go ham on leather. I would use that percentage towards leather because the simple shoes do not require fur, and our linen cap, which is for linen, are most effective, and our wool hat, neither of those require fur either. So we're not using fur anywhere other than for Fur Capelets, which I believe Fur Capelets also take leather. Nope, they take linen. So yeah, it's actually kind of inefficient to use fur. If you have some, you could always hammer some Fur Capelets out just to get rid of it, or just sell it directly. If you sell it directly, you're not going to get 7 coins apiece for it. But honestly, it's one of the cheapest items here, other than maybe straw. Your linen is going to be worth 76.66 per linen cloth. And bear in mind that it is 10 flax per spindle, 1 spindle per cloth. So, and we got that using the cap. So if we look at the cap, and now the cap is kind of far down here. I mean, it's in Sewing Hut 2, so you have to have at least 750 in production to get down there. But if you're making yourself ladles and you're making yourself stone knives, and then eventually, once you get the workshop open, making yourself wooden vials, you're going to get down there in no time. So the cap requires 2 linen fabric and 1 linen thread. So that's going to be 30 flax per. And remember to do a 2-to-1 when you turn your threads into fabric. But that is going to be your most efficient use of it, and it's going to give you 76.66 value for your linen. Wool cloth is 185, and the best use of that is the hat. And that also requires linen. It's going to require linen fabric and linen thread, so 2 linen, basically, and 1 wool. And that's going to give you 185 per for wool. Which I actually feel like maybe once you have access to wool, because that's going to be the kicker here, Because if you look in farming, wool's actually kind of down there. You got to get the fold first, which is at 2,500. Whereas you can start planting flax from your very first spring. So I feel like maybe once you have access to wool, give up on the hats and go all in on, or give up on the caps and go all in on the hats for money. I'm actually going to unlock that recipe right now for that very reason. Now, straw, the best use of straw is going to be the basic straw hat, not the flat straw hat. But that is not going to be an efficient use of your linen to simply get 2.6 value per straw. I feel like there are much better things to use your resources on than that. And that's actually going to change my production around quite a bit, because I had them gathering straw for hats, and now I know that it's actually not worth it. So I'm going to have to re-gear some stuff. Now, feathers are worth 3 apiece, which should not be surprising because that is their base price, and they are not actually... They don't appreciate if you use them for anything. Your best bet with your feathers is to sell them direct. However, they are great for the early game. You can set the traps and get feathers that way, and you can also get feathers from your hunting shack, and at 3 apiece, they are not going to be as effective as your leather at 12.5, so I'm actually going to cut my feathers off. But it's good to know that they're there. And tin is effectively 56.5 per bar. And the way that we figured tin out, because tin is only used for a couple of things, like the pouch, I think, uses tin. Yep. None of the stuff that requires tin to craft is worth selling because of the other materials involved. So the value that we got for tin of 56.5 came from, it takes one copper and 1 tin to make 1 bronze. So if we take our bronze value of 110 minus our copper value of 53.5, we get the 56.5. So that's where we derived our value for tin, but it's not really effective in crafting anything, so to speak. So sticks, ladles, and or small baskets. Preferably ladles until you get the market, then the small baskets. Stones, stone knives, which is going to use some of your sticks. But that's okay because the stones are worth more than the sticks, so the stone knives are actually more efficient than the ladles. The only time that you should be making your ladles is when you run out of stone for stone knives, if you still have sticks left. Your logs is going to be wooden vials. Your clay is going to be clay vials. Your bronze is going to be bronze shearing scissors. Your copper is going to be the copper knife. Provided you're not using it for bronze, it is more effective to use it for bronze. But there is more copper than tin in the cave to begin with before you get the mine all the way open. So effectively, you will have more copper than bronze. So you will have an excess of copper to get rid of. Copper knives are the way to do it. Leather is simple shoes. Fur is not ideal. Anything that uses fur uses other materials that would be a better use of your time. But if you have fur that you want to get rid of, fur capelets are the way to go. Linen is not a good idea to use by itself, provided you have wool open. If you don't have wool open, then you absolutely can use it by itself. And the most optimal use for linen is the cap. Wool, the most optimal use is the hat. Straw, the most optimal use, and I highly recommend not using the straw for this, is the straw hat. And that's because the linen would be better used in going into the hat to get you the extra money for your wool. Feathers sell base, and tin turn into bronze. Just turn your tin into bronze. Don't bother trying to craft shit with that. And there we have it. Those are our values. So if you learned anything useful, please don't be afraid to like, or if you had a good time. And if you're feeling friendly, maybe go ahead and subscribe. But either way, have a fantastic rest of your night, and we will see you next time.